Alessandra Mariotti, welcome back to Lonely as Fuck Television.
So tell me about what's happening behind you.
Oh, this
Hmm.
is magic. I don't know. What would you want to know? It's just a
That
place.
says Hamish. Is that a, oh, that's
That's
a truck?
Hamish is my dad. He's a truck. He's gone.
Your dad is a truck, yes.
Of course. And some dogs from like before my son was born. They're little things because I even hold this, which is a stone from someone's garden.
I love that.
I believe in all this stuff, and it just keeps me from to keep me yeah, right.
I,
Little
I have I have a series of stones of my own, and that's my little section over there of
your house
actually
is
no, can you see it of stones and bits.
right, yeah, yeah.
Oh wait, look.
Yeah, things I believe in magic and things. Well, you got lovely dress. Ah, you got a
There you
stone
go.
too. Wow,
I've
yeah.
got I've got a number of stones. My family teased me a lot about my stones.
No, and you can hold them and you can feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so you believe in magic. Good. I mean, of course, there's no nothing. It's just that, of course, goes without saying. And is that Valdemosa? It's such a beautiful room. Your bed looks amazing. Sorry,
Yeah, this is.
excuse me. Oh, go back
Oh,
the
wait,
other
wait.
way. That's better.
Yeah, sorry, I don't think I have a phone call coming on the other side. Yeah, this is my very nice Valdemosa room.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Um, wait, I'm so sorry. I think I'm getting phone calls that are trying to come through, and it's distracting the.
Your phone's great. I've never done it. Usually people don't use a laptop, but the phone's working, but you have to, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my laptop, the I think it needs renewing. The camera's a
Mm.
bit fuzzy, so I have to do phone stuff now. But yeah, this is my gorgeous Valdemosa room, which I love. I have a beautiful view of the cathedral gardens from my bedroom. Um,
Oh, okay, great.
which unfortunately they have a very good view of me too. So if I ever sit in my window, you have a lot of Japanese people trying to photograph you. It's very
Well, that
strange.
must be one of those 200-year-old places. It's like more than 200 years old.
This place here, this place doesn't actually. Yeah, I think this maybe is a. Yeah, this building's easily 200. It's not one of the old ones
Yeah, yeah,
though. It might
it's
have.
great, right? I mean, I lived in Valdemosa and I know how it is there. It's wild.
Mm,
The way
mm.
things go are quite extreme. Like you can
In
have
Valdemosa,
extreme, like you can be so happy one minute and so sad the other minute. I don't know if you're like that, but I remember just having these crazy. I loved it, but I liked it before 10 and after 10 in the summer. In the winter,
I
great.
it's funny. I moved here because I was living in Palma for my first few years in Mallorca,
Hmm.
and and especially during lockdown, which was not fun. It was not great to live in Palma for lockdown,
Oh
or the
God.
post-lockdown years. It really was a police state. It felt awful.
Man, I
Um,
was in Bea and it was the best time of my life. It's so funny how people have different experiences. But in
such
Bea,
different
I had
experiences.
one of the first houses before you go up the
Yeah,
hill with the tower, and it was the best time of my life.
exactly. Yeah, and I
Sorry.
envied everybody out here so much.
I'm sorry because yeah, and then all the people in Glasgow, my family, they were all like, "You don't get vaccinated," and there was no way I was getting and then his mom tried to get him vaccinated. He's in the bedroom. I locked him in the bedroom, and I was like,
You locked
"No
him in the bedroom so you didn't get
way!"
vaccinated.
Yeah, but
Excellent.
I imagine you're not vaccinated. I know it sounds. I imagine you're not. Are you? Shit. Are you? No, okay, good.
No, I'm not.
Anyway, I
No,
don't
I'm
know
not.
if you want to go there or not, but
I'm not
oh my
vaccinated.
God.
But but no, but the funny thing is that so yeah, so when I was in the lockdown, post-lockdown era, uh there were some friends who started having some little parties in the
Oh, yeah.
countryside of Soyed.
Okay.
Some jams actually. They were having
Oh
some
God.
jam sessions. And I was
With a
very yeah,
saxophone.
there was a whole bunch of instruments involved.
Ah, the
And
worst.
So I got invited along to those, and we ended up in these kind of all night lock-ins
Rather
in
have COVID and do that. I'm joking.
well, it was so much fun because it was just
Okay,
this
yeah.
relief from this,
Hmm.
this curfew kind of era. And it's what made me really want to move out here. And at first, I actually lived for a summer in Soyet
Hmm.
in a house that had 3 bedrooms that cost 800 euros a month.
Wow, nice.
Back when that was possible. Not that
Mhm.
long ago, but back when that was possible. Um, and then the summer off, and then I would go back to Palma for the winter. And then the summer after, I was offered a house in Dea, which was
Hmm.
a lot of fun. But I found that I couldn't handle living in Dea because every time I would pop out of the house, I would end up spending 3 hours having conversations with different people
Yeah.
along the road, and I would get nothing done. And I found eventually that the best thing for me would be to live close to these places, but not immediately inside them, so
Hmm.
that I could be more mindful of spending more time alone when I needed to, and then kind of going to the action when I was, when I wanted to, opposed to always being in the middle of it. So Valdemosa is funny because while I know a number of people here, we don't socialize here.
No, no, there's nowhere to go, right?
Well, there are places people do. I mean,
No.
especially with the World Cup, everybody's in the bars at the moment. But at the same time, you can stay away from it. So for my kind of nervous system, it works best because I don't feel lonely or alone. But at the same time,
Right.
um, I can kind of, yeah, isolate myself more when I need to, and then kind of go
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
places when I want them. Yeah.
I
So
love
it
living
works
in
for
Daya
me.
because I am alone and I don't have many friends. So Daya was perfect. But in Sawyer, I feel alone here because I don't know why. It's just different. In Valdemosa, it was perfect actually, but
Yeah.
I think you're right. Valdemosa is a perfect place if you to have
And
that
it's so easy
balance.
to
The
get to
balance.
Palma.
Yeah. Were you drinking baby
Yeah.
oil? Well, it's like you're drinking baby oil. Oh my God.
No, God, no.
It's like a baby oil.
It's water. It's water,
Okay.
baby oil. This
I
is
thought
how
it's a
I
new
keep
thing
my youth secret.
to go with ceramics and
Johnson's
matcha
baby
and
oil.
chai and whatever else the kids are
Oh,
doing.
you haven't heard the baby oil is really good for you?
What is it? Cheers. Gosh. So can we
Yeah.
just finish your life story fast? Because it seems like we're not going to need hours. So you're in South Africa, you get robbed, apartheid comes down, Nelson Mandela comes in, and you end up back in Tuscany. Long story short. So how did you get from Tuscany to Mallorca?
Wow. Okay, so we ended up in Tuscany. My family migrated to Tuscany. My dad's family had my dad was sorry, I'm going to try and make this as short as possible. My dad was actually born in Kenya. His parents had at some point returned back to Italy. We would go to Italy in the summers to visit the Italian family. And my father and mother probably had read Under the Tuscan Sun or something along those lines. They definitely had, and had this whole dream of um, buying, a ruined Italian countryside house and renovating it, and yeah.
I still have this.
So
I have this dream now. I've still got
yeah,
it.
well,
Is it, you're going to shit on it? You're going to piss on the fire of my dreams? Come on.
it's a great dream. However, so they had this incredibly busy social, they had a company they were running. They had a lot of friends. They had this whole thing. They're like, no, South Africa, we're done with it. We're done with it. We're moving to Italy. This is it. Um, Packed up everything, sold everything, and we moved to Italy when they were in their 40s.
Right. Okay.
Not yeah, similar age to me. Um, and we moved into the middle of the Italian countryside where they knew nobody
Okay.
and hunted for the perfect house for a while. And found this very, very large ruin of a house in it was actually on the border between Umbria and Tuscany.
Okay. Nice. I've
And
never
set
been,
out.
but anyway,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm afraid to go because I won't want to leave.
you know what? It's so beautiful. And there's one movie that I will say is the closest to what it felt like growing up there, which is Stealing Beauty.
Okay, I haven't seen it. Okay.
by Bertolucci
Right.
with Liv Tyler as she as a young woman. Like yeah,
Uh,
and it's
I'll check
gorgeous.
it.
It's
I'll need to.
gorgeous, and that is exactly what it felt like to grow up in Italy. So you have these really slow, long summers, and a huge amount of kind of contemplation. But
Hmm.
yeah, as a kind of preteen teenager, it's just your imagination runs wild. Yeah, it's a great movie. It feels exactly like that. But yeah, we moved there, and my parents slowly renovated this house, and I think they imagined it would take 6 months. It probably took about 2 years.
Okay.
Um, and we were the strange South African family that moved to the village who'd
You're
bought the big house.
13 or 14, or how old are you?
I was 10. I was
Oh, you're
10.
only 10. Wow.
Yeah, at the time I was 10. And so everybody in this tiny village, the size of Daya, I guess, smaller probably, knew exactly who we were before we even set foot inside it. So it was a very kind of interesting time, um, trying to fit in with this community of people that was so different. Um, so yeah, we moved to Italy, and then I think that whole project drove them into a bit of a depression actually, because they realized suddenly they were quite isolated. They didn't
Mm.
really, my dad, who is a very patriotic Italian, maybe realized he wasn't as Italian as he thought, though he will
Ah,
never admit that. Um,
all right.
and yeah, it was really hard for them. It was really hard for them. And I
And
ended up going
you?
to kind of, sorry?
It must have been hard for you as well to try and fit into the school.
It was. I mean, I'm kind of quite a curious creature, so for a while it all felt a bit like this kind of new adventure we were going on. I never took it the wrong way, I guess, but it was tough, and also it was this kind of I was taken out of school in December in South Africa because that's when the school year ends,
Right.
January to December, and
Okay.
then put into this new school in January in Italy, which is middle of the school year,
Right.
um, and halfway through the final year of elementary school, and given 3 months to learn Italian fluently, which I didn't speak. So I
Right.
was kind of thrown into about 8 hours of extracurricular Italian every week and learning Italian, and which was a lot for a 10-year-old kid to kind of be going through all that change. But I ended up learning Italian very, very, very well, very, very fast because of it. Um, but never being put into the right year, so I was always a year back. And so yeah,
Okay.
it was a strange time. Uh, but yeah, eventually I ended up in Florence in boarding school, and then ended up studying in Florence and staying
Oh,
in Florence for
nice.
many years. Yeah, which was really lovely. Which is where my grandparents were from.
Okay.
Um, and but then I had obviously this dream to, well, obviously I had this dream to become a fashion designer, and that was always going to be in London. So eventually moved to London when I was 25, I think. Yeah, to to work in fashion design.
And who do you think was that because of people like punk, or what kind of, was there a fashion designer that you looked up to, or Steve McQueen or something like that? Or was it Steve
Ozzy
Alexander?
Clark. Ozzy Clark, actually,
Ozzy
yeah.
Clark? Who's that? I don't know who that is. Was it?
Ozzy Clark was a great friend of David Hockney.
Oh well, I love David Hock.
Yeah.
Of
And
course.
actually Celia Birthwell, who I've got a postcard right here. Celia, who David
All right,
had a
I
bit of a
know
love
that.
affair with
Okay, that's well, that's a nice
and did
picture.
a lot of drawings of,
Mhm.
was Ozzy's partner and
Okay,
designed all of the clothing, all the fabrics. She is a fabric designer. She's still alive, actually.
okay,
Um, and yeah, their work was actually my strongest inspiration, to be
right,
honest.
okay. So you got over to London from Tuscany. That must have been, was not so easy, was it? Did you manage to do that? I mean,
Well, no, because half my family lives in the UK, so I'm half English.
no, but I mean, did you get a portfolio together and get into, what was it? What school did you go to?
Well, so I did my final years in Florence were in the international school, so
Right.
like IB, which had a great art program. And my dream was to go to Central St. Martin's.
Yeah, mine too.
It didn't happen, unfortunately.
I
And then
went
I
there
think I
with
got
my
accepted.
portfolio. Did you go with your
Yeah,
portfolio? I
I
remember going. was a weird, but I
You,
met, it was, yeah, I didn't get in, of course, but I didn't, yeah, but anyway, yeah. So you went with your portfolio, you
yeah,
flew
I think that was
across.
my first greatest disappointment, and like I'll never
Yeah,
forget it. Like with the day I didn't get into St. Martin's
yeah.
was I did a lot of crying. It was my first greatest disappointment in life,
You're
actually.
lucky you
I
could
remember
cry.
that.
I wasn't able to express my emotions. Still haven't, but at least you were able to let it out. I've
Oh,
still got it
yeah, there
on
was a
my
lot of
back.
letting.
Well done. So you
We'll
don't
cry
like,
about it together one day.
maybe. Yeah.
Mm,
If you can sort out my guts first.
maybe that. You see, it could be the root cause, eh? It could be the root cause.
I
You never
think,
dealt with just a Martin's disappointment.
yeah, probably.
Um, but yeah, long story short, I eventually decided to go to Polimoda, which was in Florence, which was a really, really good school.
I bet.
Uh, and and then I through that kind of ended up in London interning for Christopher Kane and for Nicole Fari and for a few
Okay.
great designers.
Right.
And then very fast opened a company because my at this point I have a stepsister. There's a whole thing that happened with my family.
Mhm.
You need 3 hours for this conversation. It's a long, long one. But anyway, at this point I have a new
Like a
stepsister.
series, like a Netflix series or something. Anyway.
There are many chapters to my family's personal life. Yeah, they keep going. However, yeah, by this point, I've acquired a new stepsister who's a few years younger than me, who also shares a name and vocation. So she's also in fashion design. Her name's Alexandra, and we
Okay.
decided to open very fast a fashion label. Probably prematurely for me because by that point I didn't really know enough about who I was in order to be designing a strong enough identity of clothing. But it was a great journey. And that was kind of how I ended up in London in the fashion world, actually. Yeah.
London in the 90s, or was that? It must have been.
No, 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 not that old. It was London in the, well, this is like, what year
Um,
was it?
okay,
2010?
I get confused
Wait,
about that.
2000
2010.
and
Trying to think.
2010,
What's going on culturally at that?
2008.
Are you going? Are you clubbing? Are you going are you getting into? Are you into dance music and?
It's funny actually because when I first got there, yeah, there was probably kind of a little, yeah, it wasn't clubbing. So I come from Florence, right? And Florence, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, was was very into the group I was part of was very into this kind of like 60s bohemian revival, Dolce Vita kind of
Okay.
vibe.
Like Serge
So
Gainsbourg or something like that?
yeah, and just
Oh,
like, Rolling Stones,
oh, really?
Beatles, yeah, everybody kind of was reliving that reality, which was loads of fun. It was loads of fun. It was, I mean, Florence is quite a trip.
I'm more into Velvet Underground and Love and things like that. I don't know if you know the band Love, but
That kind of came later. That kind of
yeah,
came later. But my education at the time was really, really 60s, 70s kind of.
yeah.
That was kind of what we were all really into. And so I kind of went to Florence, sorry, to London, probably more in the search of that actually, and then kind of found
In
myself in a
London.
quite bleak reality that didn't really reflect that. Uh, and then my boyfriend at the time, who I was with, yeah, we were together for 7 years. For a lot of that period, actually,
Mhm.
he's a musician. So
Okay.
he has a band still, which was more kind of like indie rock folk music.
Okay.
And so there was a lot of education through him into that kind of music scene and that kind of background
What was it
and
called?
the Veils.
The Veils. Okay.
The Veils, yeah, yeah,
Like
amazing band.
a veil across your face.
Like a veil, like the Veils, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Which
I'll
I
give
think
it
came from a poem, can't remember by who, the name of the band. Great band.
Okay.
Uh
They're still going.
still
Well,
going, yeah.
I'll check
Yeah,
them
yeah,
out.
yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah,
it,
yeah.
okay, great.
And yeah, and so there was a huge amount of education through that. I had a series of boyfriends who were, well, series. I had two boyfriends who were both musicians and great artists and um, really amazing educators. They
Right.
really taught me a lot about music and culture and poetry and movies and films, and yeah, really grateful for that
What do
actually.
you
So
think? Was that around the same time as Amy Winehouse and the Libertines and things like that?
it was kind of to a degree, I
But
guess.
you weren't into that at all. It was a separate
Well, the thing
scene.
is, it's a separate scene also because the band kind of had more of a scene as well in America and in LA. I mean, the
Okay.
band is actually Finn. Finn is actually a Kiwi. Well, his parents were both English, but he grew up in New Zealand,
Hmm.
and so there was more of a crossover between New Zealand and LA, I guess. And so we weren't really so part of the London indie scene, more so of kind of other places they would pop into. They were quite big in Italy and big in
Okay.
Holland.
Right.
Yeah.
You went to tour with them and gigs but you weren't
I
into
went, I
that.
went, I went, I went a bit. I went a bit. Yeah, it was an amazing tour they did in the States, and I went on part of that with them. And it was this really fun time where we got to stay. Either we got to stay at the what's it called again? Oh, it's a great hotel in New York. The name is
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Gramercy Park Hotel.
Oh
Gramercy
yeah.
Park
Okay.
Hotel.
Okay, that's
For
not
some
Bangkok.
reason, the
Mm.
band was given all free suites at the
Yeah.
Gramercy Park Hotel and free room service, which was such a
No way.
fun thing.
I
Yeah, it
bet,
was
yeah.
really kind of like, huh?
Yeah, I bet that was nice and relaxing and comfortable.
I mean, it was, yeah, this is a long time ago, but it was really kind of like the highlight of my fantasy of being a rock musician's girlfriend and staying in
Right.
a massive suite and ordering in room service at crazy times of day. And yeah, it was quite fun. um and then they played in the Bowery Ballroom and I think
Okay.
yeah, and then they kind of went on to collaborate with David Lynch and they were in the most recent so remember how Lynch did that reboot
Yeah,
of
I've
Twin
seen it.
Peaks?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So they're playing
Okay, I've seen them. Okay,
Axel Russell.
that was
That's
one of
them,
the
yeah.
best ways of putting music on a platform that he gave these musicians. Because a
Yeah.
guy I know from Glasgow called Hudson Mohawk, also like a techno DJ guy, but he also had this appearance in this I remember the red curtains and all that, right? It's exactly that.
Yeah.
So good, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow, I need to revisit that because that's such a brilliant movie as well.
So cool. It's so
He's a
cool.
hero of mine, like David Lynch, of course.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow, that's great.
exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy. Anyway,
So
so when
yeah,
you're in London and you're like rock and roll and
well,
fashion.
well, yeah, rocker. I
Good.
was trying
Good.
really hard to do the fashion thing. I was trying really hard to do the fashion label. I was probably going through it was a hard time. I mean, it was a lot of fun in moments. It was also quite hard because uh was young, didn't have really enough money to survive in London, definitely didn't have enough money to push a fashion label. I
No.
remember it being very stressful time, while with moments of fun, but it was hard. London's a city that you can enjoy. I think if you're from there and you've grown up there and you belong there, or if you have a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. Like most cities.
Yeah. And I was kind of neither at the time. So it was tricky. It was a tricky time. I
Not so
also did
healthy,
not
right?
suit not so healthy, did not suit the weather. It
You're always in
wasn't
the underground, or I bet you don't eat so well when you're doing these things.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't eating so well. Weather was awful. You never knew what time of year it was. You kind of sometimes wake up in July and be like, wait a second, is it winter? I actually don't know what month it is. I'm so confused because you never knew. It was we weren't having the heat waves they're having at the moment, that's for sure.
No.
So
And
yeah, it was an interesting time. It was a time of a lot of growth. A lot of growth, I think. Yeah.
so how did you end up in Mallorca? Was there a million other things happened before London, between London and Mallorca?
Well, so what happened when I was about, I think, 20, my parents discovered Mallorca. They came
Okay.
here.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, after building this whole house in the countryside and their dream kind of not quite being what they hoped it to be, they came to Mallorca on holiday with some friends, decided they loved it,
Hmm.
and moved here within a matter of months.
Wow. Like goodbye Tuscany,
But
like that.
well, Tuscany kind of was put up for rent for many years, so it became this kind of place they'd live in the winter and then rent out during the summer months on a kind of holiday home basis.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and yeah, and fell in love with Mallorca and made a go of it. Kind of that led to the end of their relationship as well. Long side story, but I would visit, obviously when I could. And at the time, this is 20 years ago, I kind of realized, I was like, wow, this is utopia. This is
Where was
incredible.
it?
This is,
Which place? In
oh,
Mallorca?
Mallorca.
But where?
They were in Palma. They were in Palma at the time.
Okay,
They'd got
well,
an
okay.
apartment in Palma.
Mhm.
Um,
Cool.
but yeah, just the weather was good all year round, Mediterranean, easy to get to, incredible nature.
Yeah, there's no
It was
really.
very different.
I mean, I was the same. I was in Berlin and then I discovered Mallorca
Yeah,
and I was like, nah, that's it. I was thinking,
yeah,
I was going backwards and forwards between Berlin and Mallorca for a few years. And I was like, what
yeah.
the hell am I doing? Goodbye, Berlin. Goodbye. It was like nature, sun, that's all you need, right?
It was. I mean, I was a bit too young to kind of. I mean, at the time, Mallorca was very, very different. And it
20
felt a bit
years
like,
ago, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I was too young to kind of metaphorically retire to Mallorca.
Same time up here.
Uh,
It's the same 20, about 20 years ago.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
completely different now, but I'm not going to be negative about it.
completely different now.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I think it was when kind of my relationship in London ended. When I was doing the transition from fashion design to food,
Right.
and at that point, it was I think I'd promised myself 2 years before I left London that I would leave by the end of those 2 years.
Okay.
I was very over London by the end of it, and I really wanted to get out of it because it
Was it
wasn't working for
sudden
me.
or a gradual sort of transition, or did you just say goodbye fashion, hello food, or was it
The fashion ended because I started to realize it was making me more unhappy than happy.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't really, I was so stressed all the time, and I didn't see the point of having that much stress for something that really wasn't
I can imagine.
doing any good.
Such a bad
Yeah.
scene. I even tried to do a t-shirt, and I was like 2 years I worked on this t-shirt, and it was just such a fucking nightmare. Just every little small detail, and then thinking I was doing something good, and then so much money was lost in time just on a
Yeah.
fucking t-shirt. I can't imagine what it's like to make a dress or whatever,
Yeah, whole collection. It required a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I just didn't see the point of putting so much of my energy into something that didn't really benefit the right people.
Mhm.
Uh and and I realized I just wasn't, to make a kind of go of a young fashion label, you have to be willing to kind of go out and be a bit of a socialite. And
Mhm.
it it didn't really suit me, the kind of pretending that everything was great and dressing up, nobody would believe this because they all see me as such a social butterfly, but it didn't really suit me.
Mhm.
And I didn't really feel like, yeah, I didn't fit into that industry. It wasn't for me. And so I kind of, yeah, food kind of slowly became something. I think I was actually on the verge of starting a project with a friend of mine who was a cake designer, and we decided we were going to set up the studio where people could come and get all wedding related things, including the dress design that I would do
Ah,
in London. Then, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
And I
that
remember
was a
this,
yeah, the
yeah,
question.
and I remember this friend saying to me, Ali, you're always talking about to me about recipes for cakes and what I could do, but you never talk to me about the clothes.
Okay, and that comes from your nonna and the Italian background, right? Because
I think I was just really interested in food. I was really, really,
okay.
really spending a lot of time thinking about food. And she pointed out that I wasn't thinking about clothes, I was thinking about food. And at the
Hmm.
time, it was a bit of a shocking realization. It made me quite sad. And then I kind of realized she was right. And then my boyfriend kind of said, you should go and be a chef. And I thought he was
Hmm.
crazy.
Yeah,
So I said, I'm way too old to start a chefing career. And he's like, no, this is like this is what you should do. And as a kid, I was always really, really into magic. And he's
magic.
like, yeah, and he's like, oh, he's like, it's like you're creating your own little spells all the time. It's like this is your magic. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like this makes sense. And so yeah, it was a few people who actually believed in me that pushed me in the right direction. And then I finally listened, and that kind of yeah, it's what kind of got me to make the next moves. But I think also like leaving London came with Brexit. I think Brexit was
God, yeah.
a huge kind of like, this is over. This is
Yeah,
really over
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah. And as an
exactly.
Italian, I felt very unwelcome suddenly. I remember the day Brexit happening and waking up and just feeling
That was so
like just,
sad.
yeah, so sad, so
Yeah.
sad.
The way, I mean, that's most of the reason I left as well. Like
Yeah.
Glasgow, I could see what was coming and it was not good. And yeah, no problem.
So I don't tell what I'm just so cool.
Yeah, I could see what
Yeah.
was coming with everything, and it was ooh. And yeah, but what I wrote down here was music, food, and visual art, right? The three most powerful forms of artistic expression, right? This Shakespeare
Mm,
quote about if music is the food of love, play on.
mm,
This quote, right?
mm. Mm.
And do you agree that that's the three most powerful forms of artistic expression? Music, visual art, and food. That's what I would say. No?
Music for sure. I think music I've always thought of the most immediate way to transmit emotion.
Hmm.
The
Painting's not
most
good. Visual
I,
art
I
doesn't.
what I love about music is that it's a free way, well, to a degree, I guess, of immediately changing the energy of a
Yeah,
room.
yeah, you can. Yeah, and it's healing. It's the healing the same way
Yeah,
as food. And I find that I can be healed by a painting as well
yeah.
somehow if I can engage with the piece long enough, which people don't.
You
People
can
don't.
for sure.
I don't
Yeah.
think people engage. But this is
I,
the
I,
thing about football as well. Like, how do you feel when you spend hours in love and magic, and then you give someone the thing, and in 2 minutes it's gone, and that's it? It's like, oh, it's not like music or art where it lives forever. But when someone eats the dish, they don't even, probably they're just hungry. Maybe they don't eat, they just eat it, and it's gone. And it's like, wow, this is your art.
I don't think of it that way because I think no, because at the same time, you spend as much time eating a dish as you would spend looking at a piece of art or maybe sometimes listening to a track. It still stays with you.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, the memories there, the flavors of there, that experience you had, even if it was minutes long, is still there. It hasn't gone. And think about how much time you slave over developing a track or painting a piece of artwork. Everybody will only experience that piece of artwork for a few minutes.
yeah, yeah.
It's not too dissimilar.
No, it's
Yeah,
very close actually. The three things.
yeah,
I mean, I even when I turned on your thing, I seen the focaccia and the spaghetti and the cherry tart, and it looked like the perfect meal that you just made last night. And it's the same with music. You're always trying to make the perfect track, or I'm trying to do the perfect mix, or the perfect painting, and then you think you've never done it, and maybe you have done it. I spoke to an artist called Ariel Pink last week, and he has made the perfect piece of music, but he's lost his mind. Do you know who I mean? Ariel Pink? No.
Ario Pink.
Yeah, I spoke to him a few weeks ago.
Ario Pink. I don't know, but I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, but he's kind of Trump and he's kind of Zionist Trump guy. But his music's amazing, and I can't I have to say I do the same with it. I love the Smiths, you know the Smiths, right?
Yeah, I love the
Morrissey,
Smiths.
and he's
Love the Smiths.
just talks so much shit about
He's
Muslims.
he's 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 an interesting guy, actually.
Yeah.
When I was a fashion designer, I was designing bags for an Irish designer called Porrick Sweeney, and um,
Okay, Porrick. Okay.
and he was a huge fan of what's his name from the Smiths?
Morrissey.
Yeah, Morrissey. I think he was friends with Morrissey, and I remember like there was a lot about Morrissey's kind of. Yeah, I think there was a bag that had a whole kind of quote by Morrissey on it or something, and
Okay.
uh, yeah, I remember kind of like learning more about Morrissey and his politics and everything back then. I was like, wow, this guy's a trip.
Yeah. I mean, I used to think he was funny or making fun, but then recently I'm just like, nah, I can't excuse. I love the music, and I've still going to
Yeah.
see him in concert, but you can tell he needs to go to hospital or get some kind of therapy.
Yeah, I've lost track of what he's been up to.
No,
Actually, I have no idea what's
he
going on with
blames
him.
Muslims for everything.
Oh
Kind
Jesus,
of
okay, that's not great.
like
Yeah,
no, or you're missing
yeah.
what happened to the Queen is dead and all that. But anyway, right, okay, I might even get through. Like, there's like 5 minutes left, and I've
I'm just
asked
gonna
you
close the
one
door a
question.
second because there's a lot of noise coming from next door and it's
No,
distracting me. Come.
I've only asked you one question. Alessandra Mariotti. Alessandra Mariotti. It's such a great name. You have such a beautiful name. Sorry, I've asked you
Thank
one
you.
question out of these 500 questions I've got, and there's like 5 minutes left. You probably don't want to do a three-part. I've never really done a three-parter. Yeah.
We
No,
we can
right?
come we can come back in for another two-parter in a week or something.
Is that like I don't actually make a promise, but really? You
Well,
serious?
if you think of some things you after this that you still want
Right?
to ask, sure, why not? Yeah.
Mira.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot.
Like I wanted to know your favorite ice cream flavor.
My favorite ice cream flavor
Yeah.
is from Island Ices, Mr. McCoy's
Ah,
Island Ices. It's the toasted mariotti almond. It's
right.
one of the most incredible things I've ever tried in my life.
I'll check that out. He's good. I was going to
And
work
so
for
yeah,
him. Rory, yeah, I know Rory. He's a good guy.
he occasionally makes it. I don't think he always makes it. It is something
I need to.
surreal.
I need.
I've served it to dinners
Mhm.
at dinners, and everybody goes quiet, and it sounds like it's an orgy if you were to record it, because all you hear is just like
Really? Okay.
you just hear all of these groans, like just nothing else but groans. It's
Okay.
so funny. Mm.
I'm going to just pick a few random things out because there's so many. This is one that I've been thinking about recently. I don't know if you know about duality, and but
Yeah.
the question is because I'm thinking about it recently, and I'm worried because I whenever I take part in life or engage with life, it kind of I become a prisoner of life, right? I know this is crazy to go into this, but and then I was reading that maybe I should observe life, but I don't want to be a prisoner of life. I don't want to observe life, and I'm trying to find something in between. And but the question is, do you believe everything in the universe shares a single cosmic origin?
You mean on a scientific level or on a spiritual level?
Ha, yeah, I'm not sure. Probably scientific. But I mean, there's a little bit of a crossover there.
You're about to start like another very, very long conversation. However, let me try and think of this in a way that makes it shorter. Um, I would, I've over the last, let's call it 10 years, done a certain amount of exploration into the spiritual and psychedelic universe.
Oh, ayahuasca.
Um, and actually, an interesting thing is that when my mum was going through her cancer, she rented a little house in Tuscany next to a Hare Krishna center.
Hmm. Okay.
And I had grown up with a lot of prejudice towards the Hare Krishnas because I'd always seen them in the street doing their thing, and I didn't understand it as most people probably don't. But we ended up going and doing this chakra healing
Okay.
course with
Right.
one of the teachers there, and I was just like, let's go, open mind, learn about this. And it was really, really extraordinary, actually. It was 7 days for the seven chakras. And we got to really learn a lot about their faith, which is all based on the Vedic belief system, which is one of the oldest, let's call it belief systems that there are, or theologies that they are, I guess. Um, and just through kind of like a lot of, when a parent goes or somebody dear goes through what my mom was going through, it really makes you go through a lot of thinking and reflection and fear and overcoming fear and paralyzation. It's just it's a such a tidal wave of emotion, isn't it?
Yeah.
And having that kind of on the side there and coupled up to it, and it would, there would. I learned a lot. I learned a huge amount through that time, and then there were a few in the years later happened to be invited along to certain types of psychedelic ceremonies, which were really insightful. And I think the conclusion that I came to through those two things coupled together, through what I was learning through the Vedic system and what I was learning from the psychedelic exploration, um, I like to believe that uh, we are all just one entity. And I like to think that what life is all about is learning to remember that.
You got about 10 seconds, but
And
you're right.
yeah,
We're all one. Remember that?
so yeah, and I think that that's what we're here for. We're here to learn to remember that. And